So let's look at a slightly different version of developing the mind. Because you talking about Freud and talking about the psychoanalytic stuff is really cool. There's a problem, though. Is it real? The neat thing about Freud and Erikson's work is that it does explain adult behavior very well. But the problem is you're describing the behavior and then predicting what caused it. Are you actually measuring what's happening in the child? Are you measuring the conflicts, or are you talking about the adult behavior and then looking back? You're talking about the behavior and looking back, which is literally coming to a conclusion and then examining the evidence to support it. So it's not very scientific, but it does work. So behaviorism, of course, is the true science. That's what I put up on the blog. The behaviorism is the true science of psychology because it studies behavior. And it studies the effect of behavior on behavior, the effect of the environment on behavior. It's measuring everything. It's really science. So the way behaviorism talks about the development of the mind talks about parenting styles. There's different parenting styles. Different parenting styles produce different behaviors in children. What is a happy child? Just tell me what a happy child is. See, if he had a room full of toys as a kid, he'd be happy. If you had a big backyard to play in, you'd be happy. Just by listening to the two things you said. How do you know if a child is happy? There's a lot of, everything people are saying is so far correct. They're smiling, they're happy, they're secure. Now what's funny is, a lot of parents say, I want my kid to be happy all the time. So they become very permissive. In other words, they let the kid do whatever the kid wants whenever the kid wants to do it. We call these Disneyland parents. They think that because the kid is getting what it wants all the time, it will be happy. Is that true? No. And this is what's really a hard thing, because on the short side, giving the kid what it wants, the kid becomes happy. Because the kid smiles whenever you give it a toy, or, okay, if you stop screaming, I'll buy you ice cream. All right. The children learn that whatever they want, they get. We call them spoiled, rotten little brats. And the child, well, what happens with behaviorism, with these spoiled, rotten little brats, and that's just from the parent perspective, is that the child actually is not happy. Because the permissive parent-child, what are they constantly doing in life? More than that. When they get in a situation, they don't get what they want. These are the kids, the permissive parents are the kids throwing temper tantrums more than other kids. Even though the parents think they're making their kid very happy, but they're actually causing a lot of anxiety for their child. Because what they're learning is unconditional positive reinforcement, unconditional reward. Well, there's the exact opposite. I'm lisping. Authoritarian. The exact opposite. Authoritarian is my way. Or else. This is a good old-fashioned way of thinking. This is my way or else. The authoritarian parent has strict, rigid rules. With the authoritarian parent, there is only one way to behave. If you don't behave that way, there are consequences. How come these kids aren't happy? Are they allowed to develop their own mind? No. Because these children are not allowed to develop and explore themselves. They are supposed to be little automatons to their parents. Now, some parents believe that this is the way you should raise a child. Spare the rod, spoil the child. There are strict rules. You follow those strict rules. You don't follow those strict rules, you will be punished. Now, there has to be something in between these two, the authoritarian and the permissive. Because does a child need rules? Do they need consequences if they break the rules? Yes. But at the same time are there reasons for breaking the rules occasionally? Yes. That's what we'll call the authoritative parent. Your authoritative parent has lots of rules. But what do they also do? They also have lots of rewards. And lots of interaction with the child. And it's kind of funny because you think that if you have lots of rules, the kid will be unhappy. But, believe it or not, why do kids like rules? Structure. This is a really important thing with behaviorism. Whenever you're training your dog, what do you have to be? Consistent and persistent. Why do you have to be consistent in order to train your dog? So you don't confuse them. So they know what to do. If my dog is running down the street after somebody, I go like that, and she'll stop and run back. Why? Every time I feed her or I give her a treat, and actually I used to do that to my cat. My cat used to come running whenever I did that. And then so I just continued on when I got our dog, and the dog would all of a sudden go doink. What does that mean? Treat a reward. Because I did that every single time, she always does the same thing, same behavior. She runs up next to me, sits down, and which is fun, but irritating when the baby's trying to sleep and she's running to try to bark at the UPS guy. But if the more consistent you are, the more I want to say solid you are as a parent, the easier it is for the kid to be a kid. If you're very permissive, you let the kid just do whatever until you get fed up and then say, quit it. Does the kid know the boundaries? Who gets in the most trouble in high school? I think it's 6 and 1. It's both. Because these kids will often do what? Break the rules, rebel, sneak out, and they become very good at lying and sneaking. Because they learn to avoid the consequences. These people do whatever the heck they want. And what's ironic is the people with the authoritative, with the rules, rewards, and lots of parental interaction, these are the ones that develop into a happy child. Now, in my developmental class, we spent a lot more time talking about parenting styles and examples and everything. But one of my students said, well, that's not true. I know a lot of people with permissive parents that are very happy and are very well-adjusted kids. How come that's true? Does each one of these parenting styles interact with the mind of the developing child? Because you happen to have the child growing up, but the child's mind is also developing. Some children grow up very well and very perfectly in an authoritarian lifestyle and grow up and be a very happy, well-adjusted adult. Some kids grow up in a very permissive lifestyle. So behaviorism, even though it's a real science and it's great, how come it doesn't necessarily work? This is the best, but there are lots of people who grow up in the other ones that are also very well-adjusted, happy, good people. Different genetics, different personalities. Your parenting style has to interact. There is no one right way to raise a kid. Go look at the How to Raise a Kid section in the library. Are there a million books? How come the Baby Wise book that we read, anybody read that one? It's a way of raising your kids so that they sleep through the night and they're on a schedule. Worked perfectly to the letter with my daughter. Son, I was up from 1:45 until 3:40 this morning. That's why I didn't ride this morning before school. Like, my alarm went off at 5. No. I'm getting an extra hour. Stupid kid. But my daughter, at 3 months of age, started sleeping through the night, 9 to 9. No problem. She still will do that. Son, do you think he's ever going to do it? Never. No. Just sleep. That's all we want to do. That's why we haven't gone on a date night yet. We just want to have a good night's sleep. That's all we care about. Now, let's look at this cognitive theory, because this takes into more of the development of the baby's brain. And again, developmental psych, we spend a lot more time talking about this. Right now, my son is absolutely fascinating and fun to play with. 6 months of age is a blast, aside from when he's not sleeping. But